to round 3 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of January 24th. I'm Nicole Erdix, and I'm here with Catherine Haleko.
Hello.
And Terry Morrow.
Hello.
We're moms of teens and young adults, and when it comes to parenting, we've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. But we're still waiting for that day when we'll reach the finish line and have no further need to lay down in a dark room with a wet rag over our eyes worrying about something or other. Wednesday is complaint day here on Parenting Roundabout, and today we are complaining about always being on call when you're a parent of a teenager or a parent of teens. So this
or young adults, I guess.
Or young adults, I would say too.
Yes,
at least in my case.
This topic comes from an article found on Grown and Flown, titled "Always Available for My Teens," and it really addresses that myth that things are going to be easier as your child gets older, because you might not have the physical workload, but you certainly have the emotional workload when when your children get older. And it, one of the quotes from the article says, "I exchanged a baby monitor for a cell phone that is never far out of reach and almost never off." Well, I know mine's never off.
My question is, when is it ever
it's
actually
always on
off? Unless you're like in under general anesthesia or something.
Yeah.
And certainly if somebody
turn up my volume, my ringer at night, because I'm always afraid that I'll get a call and I'll miss it.
Mm.
So I actually keep mine closer to me and up at night when you're probably not supposed to. But anyway, so it totally, that rings true for me. That really hit home for me because I actually just came back I was supposed to go to Canada for a week to visit with my daughter. And then she had some personal issues that, were pretty significant to her. And so I extended my stay so that I could support her through that. And like if my son has an issue or if something's coming out with him, he knows he can call anytime, or, if he needs me to go up there, I'll go up there. I just find that, it doesn't change. I mean, you're still needed, but in different ways.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm okay with that. I'm fine with
it's
that.
Nice to be needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to be still a valued part of your child's life, even if it's just for your, assistance doing laundry or
driving them someplace,
or taking them out for a coffee or just hanging out with them when they're feeling down or sad, or talking them through a breakup, or, there's just many different ways that,
dispensing wise advice to them that they refuse to heed.
Exactly.
But you still do it because it's your job.
Yeah.
It's important for them to know. Even if
it is. So what are your thoughts on that topic?
Well, yeah, I mean, in my case, both my kids live at home and my son doesn't drive, so I'm on call a lot. I feel like it's significantly less than it was when they were little, partially because they're much more capable, but also because I'm not dealing with the whole school thing. That was, a second full-time job, and that's now gone, thank goodness. And I've managed to, so far, steer as far away from bureaucracy as I can for them. So that means I have to manage some things that perhaps somebody else could manage, but I would prefer to do it myself. And, so it feels like a significant load is off, and I just have to deal with their particular needs and not getting them met by other people. So it's good, but I will always be on call, whether they want me to be or not. I'll be like the mother in that children's book with the ladder against her kid's window.
Yes, I know. That would be me too.
I'm here if you need me.
No.
Of course.
Yeah. My kid doesn't drive yet either, even though he's old enough, but just hasn't happened yet. And so there's a lot of driving. Luckily, the school is not that far away, because sometimes it feels like back and forth, with all the activities and, coming home, then going back. And also things like, there's no subs in schools right now, right? There's such a shortage. And so basically if a teacher isn't in, if a teacher is out sick or for whatever reason, the teacher's children are sick, they just, then I get the text like, my teacher's not here. Can you come get me?
Right.
Because the class periods are pretty long and they just, there are, of course, places to go in the building, but that doesn't.
So you pick them up for the one class period and then bring them back?
Yeah. Well, like
you're a nice mom.
I know.
Does he give you credit for that?
The class periods are long and, two of them are on either side of lunch. So if it's one of those, then it extends it. And
you get a little extra in your paycheck every week for that service.
Yeah, there should be. That's for sure. So, and sometimes, like one time they have this free period at the end of every other day, and they're supposed to, go make up work or have meetings or do whatever during that time. And one day recently, he had an appointment at the end of the day. So, our plan was like, okay, great. He can just leave a little bit early from that free period, and he won't even have to be like signed out, and he can just leave. And, so our plan was, I'll pick him up at this time, right? Like when in time for his appointment.
Yeah.
And then he texts me like 20 minutes early. Well, I'm done now. And I'm like, well, but your appointment's not for another 45 minutes. Well, basically they told us we had to leave.
Oh my
gosh.
Like if you were a junior and you didn't have this X or Y going on, then please exit the building. So he was like on the street corner waiting.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes.
No.
And this was during the time period when our school district had a major technology crash. And so I think they were just trying to get rid of students early if they possibly could. So
wow.
Yeah, it was something. So yeah. The days where it's
that stinks though, because you've like finally calibrated the timing and now you have an extra 20 minutes. What the heck are you going to do with that? It's not enough to go home. It's too early to get to the doctor.
Right. Yep. Well, maybe someday soon it'll be time for a little extra driving practice.
There you go. So,
in a few.
What would you do with yourself if you didn't have to drive people anywhere, Catherine?
I know. Well, I mean, I'm 50% there because my older kid, got her license and drove herself around quite a bit, and I certainly noticed the change when that happened. So
yeah,
we'll get there eventually. Yeah, it's wild. But yeah, it really does feel like the baby monitor was just swapped for cell phone. They're not crying in the middle of the night because they woke up and can't go back to sleep, but they're crying in the middle of the day for whatever reason.
A lot of the time
into your phone.
Yeah, the things they're crying about are things you can't fix. I mean, maybe you couldn't fix whatever was making the baby cry in the middle of the night either, but you just to have your kid having an emotional problem with a friend or a romantic situation, or even just a work situation, or all the things that you want your kids to be doing, and then when it doesn't work out, and you can't do anything about it, it's
right.
I used to be able to go kick somebody's butt at the school at least, and I can't even do that anymore. I don't feel like I should be going into work situations and saying, what did you say to him?
Right.
But so that gets harder. That part gets harder because it's the older they get, the more you have to help them fix it themselves instead of just, here's a Band-Aid, sweetie.
Right.
All better. I'll give it a kiss.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Or a pacifier or a cookie or whatever.
Oh, man. You wish your kid comes home like with heartbreak and you just, give them a pacifier and everything's fine. Oh, that's all that was needed.
Yeah.
Golly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fortunately, we can find time in all of our on-call days to record these podcasts.
That's right.
And listeners, I'm sure you count on that. And that, while you're sitting on call waiting to pick somebody up, we are filling that time for you. You're welcome. And that's it for today's round 3. Tune in tomorrow when we'll obsess about group primal screams. Get your throats ready, everybody. Have some lozenges nearby afterwards. And then on Friday to see what we've come up with for our Roundup picks this week. Find all our episodes at parentingroundabout.com and talk back in the comments there on our Facebook page or on Twitter, where you'll find us at Roundabout Chat.